Today, you're gonna learn the exact Instagram strategy a 23-year-old realtor has been using to generate over 150 sales year to date, and it's only September. Okay, now today's episode is an interview with Elio Alanis, a rock star realtor in Houston, Texas, and one of our coaching members. The dude is just such a giver. He's gonna share so much value today. I'm actually recording this intro after I already talked to him, so I already know what this podcast has in store, and it is a lot of value. You may be watching, you may be listening. If you're listening, that's great. Maybe you're at the gym, on a walk, maybe you're driving, that's great. Listen and get fired up. You're gonna get a lot of ideas and inspiration, but I would encourage you to make time to watch this episode because this isn't gonna be just a normal interview where we talk back and forth. There's gonna be a lot of screen share. We're gonna be looking at his content together. We're gonna be looking at how he sets up his Instagram grid, and we're gonna break down his advertising strategy on Instagram, and I'm gonna walk through how to do those ads on Instagram step by step so that you have the exact blueprint to replicate this. This is not going to be a conversation that you walk away from thinking, but what about this? What about this? What about this? This is all on the table, his Instagram strategy for you to rip off and duplicate. So welcome to This Week in Marketing. My name is Jason Pantana. I'm your host, and I am so glad you're tuned in today. This show is going to be a doozy, so on with the formalities. If you're new to the channel, please hit that big red subscribe button so that you get notified whenever new videos like this get published. We want to connect with you, and I definitely want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think about this? And I would encourage you, share this video with at least one peer who needs to absolutely level up their Instagram strategy. Without further ado, let's dive into this epic interview with Elio. Elio, this is going to be an epic conversation, and I should probably warn anybody who is tech adverse that we're going to get into some mechanics and details because a lot of folks have probably heard you on other podcasts we've done talking about your Instagram strategy. And the goal of this session is to break down step by step exactly what that Instagram strategy is. So Elio, thank you so much for coming onto the show, man. I'm super glad you're here.
No, thank you for having me, Jason.
Awesome. All right. So first and foremost, let's just give a high-level overview to the listener, to the watcher. If you are listening on a podcast app, we're going to have a lot of screen share happening on YouTube. So I would pop over to YouTube and look at the video there for some extra step-by-step. But whatever your consumption format is, you're going to get a lot of value. Can you walk us through high-level your Instagram strategy and talk about what the results have been in your business?
Yes. So, Jason, in the past 4 years, I've been using Instagram as my main lead generation source. So this year alone, we're already closed 200 transactions. Out of those 200 transactions, 150 of them have been through Instagram. And there's a lot of things I do throughout Instagram. It's just not posting. It's just not doing my stories. There's a lot of forms I do to bring the clientele to finally reach out to me. So one of the things I do is I post, right? But I have a content pattern. I post for every 3 posts you'll see on my Instagram. You'll see like a video, you'll see a closing picture, and you'll see something natural going with my life.
All right. So walk us through that again. So here I am on your Instagram. Great
My
looking
Instagram.
page. Walk me through that.
So I have my favorite pin post on the very top. What I
Right
want
here,
people to see, my credentials. So it's like number 1 agent in Houston, something authentic. I've donated money to my high school, and then something that I just accomplished was buying my daily car. Every row, you'll see a closing picture. Now I've been you don't see it in a second row because I've been speaking to Tom Ferry and other panels, so little things been going on. But if you scroll down, every row has to have a closing picture. And the reason I do that is because when people search for realtors, they want to see the credentials. They want to say, hey, is this realtor
Absolutely.
actually closing? It's like you looking at a gym trainer. You're gonna go with a gym trainer who has the best before and after results.
So
So
social proof, every row on the grid, they're going to see something of you in action, proving that you're the guy for the job. I love that.
yeah, so they'll see a video, they'll see something going on with my life, and then they'll see a closing picture. So that's like a
All right.
non-negotiable.
But this is something that a lot of people glaze over. You'll hear a lot of gurus and experts talking about, hey, you don't want to be too salesy or in people's face. They don't want to just see houses and stuff like that. But you have a different mindset. It seems like your mindset is, hey, they're here to find me to be their realtor. And so I'm
Yes.
going to position myself for those who are seeking my services. I fundamentally agree. And even if you look back to, I think it was Aristotle or Plato, I can't remember which one it was, but they talked about human reasoning operates on 3 planes, ethos, pathos, and logos.
Yeah.
Ethos is ego, it's social proof. It's showing that you can be trusted because others have had success working with you. Pathos is from the heart, logos is from the mind. But I think a lot of people leave out the ethos component that says, hey, this is why you can trust in my services. I want to double down on what you just said. I love the idea that there is, and it's not like overly, if I pull up the grid again, it's not massively in my face by any stretch. It's you with clients, it's you showing properties, it's just showing people that, hey, you're not going to be an experiment. I'm an expert and I do this on a recurring basis. Do you want to continue, Elio?
Right. Yeah. So that's the very first thing I do is I post. I have my content pattern that I post every week. On top of that, I have my call of action on every single post. Every video has my call of action. Every caption. Just think about when you send out emails, you have an email signature. So I copy and paste that same email signature, but for my captions and every single post. And it could be a post nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with selling houses, a video, anything. I will still have that same caption because
So
that's
I'm
my call
clicking
to
just
action.
through. I'm seeing it most of the time. There's like a couple where it's not there.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a couple of collaborations. Yeah, that one's
yeah.
kind of
Oh,
more.
those are collabs. Okay, got it. But again, so your signature, and I love the way you phrase that, an email signature, but it's your caption
Yeah,
signature.
caption signature.
I do this too, by the way. It says text home to get started. It gives the phone number to text. It's got your handle here, and then it's got like credentials. There's that social proof. #1 real estate agent in Houston, Texas. This text, a lot of folks are wondering right now, what happens if they text that number? And hey, if you're an agent watching, don't do that. It's just it's his funnel, but he's here to teach you, so we'll respect that. What happens when they respond to that CTA down here?
So a lot of people think it's like some automated service or a CRM or something like that, but it's not. It's really, I have two phones. It's right here. These are my two phones. I call it the Legion phone. This Legion
Yeah.
phone stays here at the office. It gets rotated around by my agents. But as soon as we get the word home, we text them back the script. Hey, thanks for reaching out to me, Jason. What time can we schedule a call today to answer your questions? And if they don't reply within that day, we'll call them. And
Do you know
then,
what's so brilliant about that? Not only do other agents who are looking upon you, like you and I were chatting in the pre-show, and I assumed you were using ManyChat to
yeah,
facilitate this because everybody's been programmed as a user of Instagram to expect to see these kinds of calls to action in the comments where it's a keyword text. And so if you're watching this show, listening, and this is new information to you, there are services out there like ManyChat, MANY chat, which is a automated messaging platform that can be plugged into your Instagram. So if somebody comments or DMs you with a specific keyword. And it can also work for text. So it's a little bit extra money, but it can do SMS as well. And if they hit you with that specific keyword, that triggers a pre-sequenced conversation. But what you're actually doing is there's a human being who
yeah,
is literally the one, oh, there's our keyword. And then they have probably short codes or they know the script, copy,
yeah,
paste the script. And they're effectively, this is the irony, usually these automated texting or messaging services are trying to simulate real people having conversations. But you're doing the reverse of that, where you're having real people simulate automated messages because today's consumer has been trained to expect an automated message like that. And then they
yes.
are so pleasantly surprised when I assume they very quickly learn they're talking to a real person.
Real person, and they love that. Like I guess so many times they question me, is this a real person? They even like they'll text the word stop, thinking it's like a CRM. Like, hey, this is like a real
Yeah,
person. I'll send a picture of myself, and so it's funny, which actually works more. I convert more because I have team members here on top of that phone. Like you won't go within
it's
minutes
the
without
bat
getting a
phone.
response.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
love that.
after they agree to a time to schedule a call, either I take the call or I have one of my team members take the call. We'll schedule, we'll hear them out. This call takes no more than 5 minutes because we just ask them three little questions, we'll hear them out, and then we'll go over the first step. Once we end the call, we'll send them straight to the lender. They'll get pre-approved, and then that's when I designate that client to whatever agent I want them to work with,
All right,
and
let's
that's
peel
it.
that down. That's a good SOP right there. So it sounds like when they text that number, the goal of that text conversation is to schedule a call. Is that true?
Yes, I'll call it 100%. That's why I don't like using DMs because it's sometimes harder to get them to fill out a questionnaire or
Hmm.
to give them my number. I can't call them or I can't follow up. Or when people go on Instagram, DMs are kind of the last thing they look at. They go through their feed, their notifications, their comments. So I like getting their number so I can boom right there and call them right there and then.
first party data and it's clearly working. You've done 150 out of 200 sales this year because of this. Now, another note I want to make is this call to action that is your email signature effectively in the captions of all your respective posts on Instagram. Man, I'm just having questions flood my mind. Can I hit you rapid fire with a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Okay, first question that I want to know is how often are you posting? Just generically or usually?
I don't post a crazy amount of time. I post about 3 to 4 times a week. I just keep
All
it,
right, so 3 to 4 times a week. Your
Mhm.
posts are not always about real estate, yet
No,
your signature, your CTA is there regardless. And so one would have to assume if somebody texts that number to get started, a couple of things factor in. One, I'm assuming you have a high reach with your own followers, so they know you're the top realtor. There's social proof all over your profile grid. They know you're number one. They know you're crushing it. So everybody already knows your real estate guy. They know that. And they know when they text home to get started that this is some kind of a real estate response that they're generating. Yet I would assume that you or the team member who is holding I'm calling it the bat phone, the lead generation phone,
yeah,
they don't necessarily know how serious this person is. What
correct.
kinds of, you don't have to go into every detail, but what kinds of scripts are you using to take somebody from wherever they are when they start that conversation to booking an actual call to talk about real estate?
So I mean, we just always tell them, hey, the first step is scheduling a call with us, because sometimes they text us the word home with a million questions, and it's
Yep.
very hard to answer those questions throughout messages. And sometimes the people read messages the wrong way and stuff like that. So I tell them, hey, this call doesn't take more than 5 minutes. What time are you available today? We have team members available from literally 7 in the morning all the way to 9 at night. So we will take the call anytime throughout the day. And
Interesting.
the first question we ask them when we hop on the call is, "What is your goal? Like, what are you trying to achieve? How soon do you want to be in a house? What are you trying to do? Do you rent? Do you own a house right now?" And then from there, we just go over the first step, which is applying with the
Mm,
lender. And then even if they want to buy a house next year, we push them to apply today.
okay. Okay. So the first question is their goal, their time frame.
What,
I love that. It makes it all
what is
about
your,
them. And
what
you're
do you
gonna
want?
get that. So is it usually buyers? Do you get sellers too, or are you dealing mostly with buyers?
Most of the time is buyers. I'm like 70% buyers heavy and 30% sellers heavy. Because
Okay.
I post a lot of buyers content. Now I flip the switch and start posting more about, hey, just sold this house, I'm listing, blah blah blah. Then I'll get more listing attraction.
And so your first down, so to speak, like, hey, it's first and 10. That first down for you is I got to get them pre-qualified so I can determine their purchasing power. And that's going to also
Yes,
show me that they're serious. True. So you're going to
yes.
push them for that next.
What is your goal? How soon do you want to be in a home? If you were to get approved today, are you ready to buy a house tomorrow? And then I let them ask me any questions, but by that time they don't really have questions. It's more of by the time they answer those questions, they like pour down to me their life, because we're like real estate agents, but we're also here to mentor people throughout the way.
Yeah.
So they kind of tell us a lot. So after that, I teach my agents how to create a relationship with clients.
Yep.
By any other answers they'll answer you, there's something that you and I have something similar, and I'll bring it up. Oh, you know what? I have a dog too, or you know what? I've
Yeah.
been to that state, and we kind of I make I establish a relationship, and they trust me more.
Yeah. Just building rapport. Okay. So you said earlier that the calls are roughly 5 minutes a call. Is that the goal? Is like a 5 minute
Yeah,
conversation?
I really call it so quick.
And during that 5 minutes, they're going to ask you their questions. They're going to give you a lot of context. You're going to have a lot of dialogue, but fundamentally, you're training your agents and you yourself are getting answers to three specific questions. And those three questions lead to getting pre qualified. And then once that happens, I assume it moves into more of a traditional flow where they're out looking
Yeah,
at properties, you're making offers, and we probably don't need to get into the details there today. Is that true?
yeah. No. So once you get pre-approved, I schedule a call with them. Hey, congrats, you got pre-approved. The next step, I'm going to make a group chat with if they have a partner or spouse, and
Yep.
then with my team members. And we're going to send you a list of questions to see what you're looking for. Once
Yep.
we receive your responses, we can start looking at houses. So it's simple. And then my
And
agents are trained to get them on a contract within 2 weeks. It's like a non-negotiable.
yeah, well,
'Cause-
and I put a post out not long ago. How many
Yeah,
homes do you think you should want, need, or should see before you make an offer on a property? In this kind of a marketplace where we're seeing inventory rise, it is important to train an agent on setting an expectation with a buyer that, hey, there will always be new homes hitting the market. And they may or may not achieve your expectations or goals, but it is the one that is available today that you decide checks the boxes for you that is the next step. So just keeping people moving in a workflow is important. I like
Yeah.
that 2 week mark. I think if you stretch this thing out too long, hoping for the unicorn of houses to pop up, it's going to just create ultimately somebody who doesn't get their expectations met because they just kept holding out for something that wasn't, it was a miracle, basically. So if I look at your Instagram here, I see 32.8 thousand followers. Did you buy them?
No, those are organic. So I started in 2020, and I had already had 1,000 followers from high school. I was like the most popular kid in my school, so I
I
had
can see
already had a
that's
thousand
awesome.
followers.
Okay.
Now, for if it took me 4 years to get to 30,000 plus followers, and I did a lot of ways to get there. Like I posted weekly, I follow people daily.
Yep.
Because when I first started high school, most of my friends were my age, so it wasn't nobody that was gonna buy a house. So I will follow 20 people a day in my first year
Mm,
of people that will buy a house or look, a bit older than I was, just to get
yep. Just to get
that
going.
yes. And then I would
All
do
right.
giveaways. I would do giveaways. So I would do once a quarter. I do a big giveaway, and I'll
Yep.
spend about $3,000 to $5,000 on this giveaway. So I do
Okay.
giveaways. I post. I follow people, and then I do ads.
There's been organic growth. You were using techniques like the giveaways, which were for a time very popular and very effective in terms of generating followers. And you're still going to get followers because your organic content meets the needs of what people are looking for. I teach this a lot. I teach that the algorithm works for you. If you understand who your target audience is and you supply content for their demands on social media, then functionally the algorithm is going to make it its priority to start putting your content in front of them because everybody wins. They are
100.
seeking content like that on the platform. You understand what they need, you supply the demand. Instagram keeps people plugged in for longer. Everybody wins when you do it that way. And so I can look at your profile organically and say, hey, he's doing everything right here. He's got a consistent frequency of posting. He knows his niche. He is creating content in a specific cadence where he's continually feeding his audience. And I use that word feeding on purpose because I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's Wednesday. What should I post today? Versus knowing, no, I post 3 to 4 times a week and here's my mix of content. I feed my audience one of these, one of these, one of these every week, repeat. So you've been growing, but I'm willing to bet that your advertising strategy might have something to do with it also. Can you break down what you're doing with ads? When I look at this content, for example, this one's got 765 hearts. These are penned up here.
And
This
yeah,
one's got 2088. I think they love seeing you basically get the unboxing of your car, so to speak.
yeah.
Um, is all this organic or is there
Those
paid
are all
performance behind
organic.
it?
Those are organic. So people love seeing success. So as soon as you post your success, like they'll
They
they'll
do.
they'll like bombard with likes and all that stuff. So that one has 2,500 likes.
Yeah.
Originally, it didn't have the 2,500 likes. It had like 1,000 likes because it's a nice closing picture. But the only content I boost are closing pictures because that's the only content I want people to know me of.
All right. I'm going to say that again, and then I'm going to switch to a different screen. The only content you boost, anybody who's watching or listening should like underline that, okay, he's boosting posts, not buying followers, boosting posts. And if I go into, let's switch screens here really quick. I am in Meta's ads library. So if you go to facebook.com/ads/library, you can spy on whatever ads any page is running, whether it's an Instagram or a Facebook page. And if I look here, it's got approximately right now 3 ads are currently live for your page. And I see a carousel of what you said,
Yeah.
closing photos, real estate photos. Talk about this for a little bit.
So, for instance, I only boost my closing pictures. So the first picture will be like the couple, me with a couple, because I want to be seen that hey, I just helped this family close on a house, and then the carousel will be the pictures of the house, like hey, look at the beautiful house I bought, showing, promoting what the type of houses you can get or the type of houses I sell.
Where are you running these ads from? Are they being run from the Instagram app? Are you doing it on Ads Manager?
No, I'm doing it strictly from Instagram.
Okay. Now, I will make a note to the audience. If you're running ads on iOS, are you on Android or iPhone?
I do it from my MacBook because if you do it on your iPhone, there's like 30%
Okay, so
charge.
you literally go to Instagram.com. It's because, just so y'all know, if you're watching this or listening, if you boost a post on your iPhone from Instagram or Facebook, Apple tacks on, I believe it's a 30% surcharge. So if you're going to spend $10, they're going to actually add on an additional $3 per day. So it's $13 per day because you're paying the tax to Apple because Instagram and Facebook are a part of their app stores. And so they're collecting in that fee. But if you go to Chrome You go to Instagram.com and hit boost post and do it from there. You can set a $10 a day budget, and it's only a $10 a day budget going straight to Facebook and Instagram to run your, well, really straight to Instagram in this case to boost your post. So, for example, if I go to my Instagram right now and I would click on my profile, I just want everybody to see what it looks like. If I want to boost a post, like if I go here, I would just click on boost post, something like that. And then it's going to take me over through the screens to pay the money and boost the post. How much are you spending on a boost?
I have a budget. When I first started in 2020, I think my first boost was like $30.
For total, campaign total?
No, for my first closing picture.
Are you
Now
spending per day or are you just spending for the lifetime of the ad?
lifetime, yeah, because my capital was, I was 18 years old. My first closing, my capital was limited, but I wanted to get out there. Now I spend, I won't lie, I spend about 3,000 a month on boosting.
How many posts are getting boosted per month? Is it about 3 or 4?
3 to 4, yeah.
Okay, so 3 to 4. It's always closing pictures because you want to reinforce social proof and
Mhm.
drive people into your funnel. This is all adding up in my brain right now. I can't wait for what we're gonna get by the end of
The
this episode today.
one client that you get will pay that month and some more. So
Say
that's
that one
why
more
I'm not.
time. I had a little internet disruption.
I said with one client that you get from that month from your ads, will pay for that amount
Dude, you sold 150 houses this year off of this.
off
And
of
and
this.
I'm
That's
gonna
why.
I'm gonna make a statement now. I'm gonna say that I love that you started on the organic. You laid a foundation that says you got to create content. It has to be organic. You have to let people see you in action so they have a high degree of confidence in your ability. You have to put your email signature in your caption consistently so that they see how they can work with you. But I would say that because you've done that, it is what we're getting into now. This boosting strategy, I'm willing to bet, is driving almost all the results right now. So that $3,000, in my opinion, is money well spent. So you're basically spending $1,000 per post, is the way it works out. Now, somebody watching does not have to start that level. Remember, he sold 150 houses year to date, and it is currently September 18th, 2024, when I'm filming this with you right now. And you've sold 150 houses just from this strategy alone, plus 50 others from other strategies, I'm sure. It doesn't have to be $1,000 per post. How long does a post get boosted?
Uh, that's a good question. Sometimes I do it for 7, 10 days.
Okay.
Then after those days, I see the results, and I just keep one or two until I pause them. I still
Okay.
have some that I've been boosting since like June, July, because
So if one is paying dividends, you just keep it rolling, you just keep extending it. Now, something to note for our listeners and watchers right now. Instagram and Facebook ads deploy an AI on the background of an ad that is constantly determining how to optimize the delivery of your ads. So think about it like this. The longer you let your ads run, some would say, well, won't they go stale? Won't they start to get fatigue? It is possible that they will eventually burn through their total addressable market and stop performing, in which case you'll pause them or replace them. But it is equally as possible, and what the AI does is it is continually trying to figure out who's the most based upon who's responded to this ad so far. Who's the most likely, when I look at the common denominators in that audience, who else should I show this ad to who hasn't seen it and meets the criterion? And so, in other words, in the same way that I said before, that the algorithm of Instagram and Facebook is doing a job to work for you, the job of that algorithm is organically to figure out who is the audience who's most interested in your content and feed them that content. And your job is to supply that content, supply and demand. Well, the ads work the same way. And so the AI is optimized to go find the right people who want to see your ad content. So the longer you let it run, the smarter it gets. Now, you could reach a U-shaped curve where eventually it stops performing. Like you said, you'll just kind of keep an eye on it. Every week or so, is it getting results or is it sort of losing its life? Because it can run out of gas, but it can also just keep getting smarter and better and more efficient and lowering that cost per result over time. So you're boosting from Instagram.com. You're only boosting. I do have a question for you that I'm hoping you can answer. You're only boosting your photos with your clients, which I'm going to pull my screen up again. And I want to notate that this looks like a carousel. Is there a reason why it's a carousel post, or was the post itself a carousel?
the
So
the
I get
post
right.
is it's a carousel. I think.
Oh, you're right. It is a carousel. I didn't realize that before. These are carousels. And so what happens is when you boost a post like this, it will automatically, if it deploys. So what we're seeing here, just to explain to the viewer, is Facebook carousels look like this. it would not look like this on Instagram. It would look like a regular carousel that you can swipe
Yeah,
through with one visit Instagram profile button. Is that right to you?
that's right.
Who are you targeting when you run the boosted post? I know you have limited control. We can see here in this ads library, if I zoom in really close and look at this, it's telling us you started running this one on August 19th. It's currently active. It's on the Instagram platform only. It would show us if it was running on other platforms, and it's been tagged housing under special ads categories. So I
Yeah.
know you've got limited ability there. We can see more ad details about it and dig into it, and it'll give us some information about you, the advertiser over here. Um, Really good stuff, man. I love
Yeah.
this. Who are you targeting?
Yes.
So for anybody watching or listening, if you use that special ads category, which you're required to, it's going to automatically prohibit you from doing any kind of targeting. Like you can't target zip codes, you can't target anything that could be potentially in violation of fair housing laws. And so you have, is it just a 15-mile radius? Is that what you're doing?
It's a 15-mile radius. Is from ages to 18 to 65, and that's pretty
Yep.
much you can't do
So
more
it's
than that.
open targeting except for the 15-mile radius.
Yeah.
Now,
So
let me tell
I
you what I love about that. There's two things I love about that. One, it's really, really easy. And so anybody can do it. That 15-mile radius, so it's a 15-mile radius around the center of Houston, effectively, or whatever radius you want. That is the minimum geographic area that a realtor can target because of the special ads category, which was the result of the lawsuit that the National Fair Housing Alliance lobbied over at Facebook and Meta, and they lost. And this is for anybody running ads in North America. You're going to be, or at least Canada and the US, you're going to be subject to the special ads category, which is a 15-mile radius minimum. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way around it. What I love about it is, okay, fine. This makes it super easy. But two, your ads are clearly, they are optimized for that AI to go work on their behalf because it's a 15-mile radius. You're making Instagram have to work exceptionally hard to figure out, well, who within this audience is the most likely to click and deal with it. And so it's going to start studying the trends, even though you can't target specific audience overlays, it can. And so the way it does that is by saying, well, who are the people? What's the common thread amongst the people who are actually engaging with this ad? And then it's going to serve it to more people who meet those criteria and without you telling it to do that. That's the benefit of letting it run for longer, right?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So you're just boosting it. Could I give you one pro tip?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So you're boosting it, which means you're paying for impressions. And so anybody who sees your ad on any level, it's costing you money out of your budget. If you ran it from the Meta Ads Manager and went into Meta Ads and you chose traffic as your goal, they have a subtype, traffic where. Well, you can drive traffic to your Instagram profile so that it says the same button, but I can change the settings where I only pay for people who actually click that link to go to my profile. And so I will no longer pay for anything but clicks. Just a hack.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I assume that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, somebody could put in the comments, well, could that actually work against him? And the answer is it maybe could, because right now, if you're boosting it, it's really measuring engagement overall. So when you get comments and you get people who swipe through the photos, it's looking at all that as people leaving fingerprints about who's engaging. And ultimately, what you really want is not for people to click the button. So if I look at the ad, it's got visit Instagram as the primary call to action button in the carousel, which is great, but that's not really what you want folks to do. You really want them to do this, right?
Yes.
Right there. Text home to get started, and then it gives your phone number. Again, please respect that phone number. Don't make us have to blur it out in the edit of this podcast. And then somebody is monitoring that phone the whole time, right? And that's going to
Yes.
be the determining factor in terms of working the leads. Have I missed any details?
No, you got it all down.
All right. So, what would you say to an agent who's maybe where you were 3 or 4 years ago? Because now you're, how old are you now? You're an old man now, right?
From 23 now.
He's 23. He's a total geezer. Um, what would you say to an 18-year-old version of yourself or somebody who's new to this? What would you say?
Yeah, I would recommend start building your database. When I mean database, is your followers. To me, my followers are my database. So
Mm,
start building your database, your audience. Specialize. Knowing what you want to specialize in is the first thing. Once you identify what you want to specialize in, who's the audience to that specialty, and then once you know your audience, grow that audience on Instagram. That's it. And then from
All right.
there, just post content that that audience will like and that will help you specialize on them.
That's so good. You know, I teach a session on how to write a bio for Instagram. And the very first line of your bio on Instagram is a critical line where you specify your audience. It's
Yes.
almost like if you know this, like Babe Ruth points the bat, indicating that he's going to hit a home run and then he hits a home run. It's almost a declaration that this is who I'm making content for. So your
Yes.
first line of your bio is, and it's quite an exercise of thought because you have to really analyze who's my audience, who am I for? And then you declare it in the first line of your bio, effectively who you're making content for. So mine says marketing tactics for real estate pros, entrepreneurs, and marketers. That's who I'm making content for.
Yeah.
And so you clearly went through the effort of declaring who you're going to make content for. And then, so the step one is who are you making content for? You were very clear about that. Step two is supply the demand. You got serious about, well, what content needs to be published and what's the level of discipline for me to do that over and over and over again to make sure that they're seeing from me what they need to see from me to have a high degree of confidence that I'm worth hiring. And then I would say the next thing that I saw you do that was super smart that I hope everybody replicates is your email signature in the caption. What
Yeah.
a great idea. I think that you demystified for a lot of folks who are maybe intimidated by automated messaging like ManyChat and stuff like that. You don't need ManyChat. You literally went to Verizon or AT&T or Sprint or whatever, and you got a new phone and said, here, you're on duty today. And everybody has the right scripts, the right dialogues. I do think it's important to note that you have really great standard operating procedures around how quickly do we respond to the leads when they text. Everybody seems to have an understanding like, hey, speed to lead. These are the messages. We're going to drive people into getting that getting on the phone, on a phone call. And then once they're on the phone, we're going to drive them into the pre-qualification. And then once they're pre-qualified, we're going to push for a 2-week period of time to get them into their contract. You've got really great operating procedures around what this looks like. And that all working together, plus the advertising strategy with the boosting of a post, and then hitting the same audience, just growing and saturating in that audience, that's 150 deals in the first 8.5 months of the year, 9.5 months of the year. I mean, congratulations, man. That's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. What's next for you?
Next is just build, keep building my team. I now I have a lot of database on my phone, my two phones. So now I have people calling those contacts on the phones that people that didn't apply, didn't qualify, or haven't bought a house yet. So I have over 4,000 people just in those two phones that, even if we get 10% of those to close, that's already 400 closings. And I'm still bringing in leads from my Instagram because I will never stop doing that. So now it's just building my team where I can hit both
Yeah.
waves.
You open to an idea?
Yeah.
I think you could do effectively what you've done on Instagram with a blogging strategy. I think if you got AI working for you and you went after a lot of keywords and search inquiries that are popular in your area, you could supply a ridiculous amount of blogs and you could nest your call to action in those blogs. And I bet you could drive thousands of people to your website every month who are effectively the same as what you're driving to your ads when you're boosting your posts. And I bet you could increase getting even more messages to that phone and then building your team even larger.
Yeah, that is a goal.
You could totally do that. We should talk about that on a separate call. Man,
Yeah.
you've been incredible. I think everybody's already seen where they can follow you. I'm guessing by now everybody already has followed you on Instagram. We love having you being a part of our ecosystem. You are such a rock star and such a positive example about what happens when you get tactical and when you get disciplined and when you're held accountable. I love this, man. Thank you so much for everything you shared today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Have a great week, everybody. Until next week, this is This Week in Marketing.